How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a great day because today we have one of the craziest Karen stories I have ever received, and I know you will enjoy it. So sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's just get right into it. We're going to call today's subscriber who submitted this story Max. So anyways, Max was in the 5th grade, and at Max's school, the 5th grade play was like the biggest deal ever, at least, to the 4th graders, the 3rd graders. It was so cool every single year. The theater director, because like the first year that the kids in that school got theater, since the school went through 8th grade, was 5th grade. And the theater director liked starting the school year off with a bang, so they always had the coolest 5th grade play ever, and all the younger kids were so excited to see it. It was also a pretty big deal in the 5th grade, that play was as well, and also who got what part, and who got the lead, who got whatever, even though it was kind of a big deal. I mean, kids wouldn't like fight over it that crazy or anything. If anything, it was a big deal for the parents, or at least the parents who cared a little bit too much. So let's just skip to the first day of auditions. So the play that they were doing was Cinderella. For, the one person who doesn't know the fairy tale Cinderella, basically there's this girl who is like a handmaid, or is like a basically cleans the house of another of like these 3 evil stepsisters or something. Or I think that they're related to, yeah, so she is basically forced to be like cleaning up the house and all in rags or whatever, and the super handsome Prince Charming, sees, Cinderella at the ball after, okay, this is gonna sound weird, after a magic pumpkin gets her there, but basically, right, the magic wears off at 12, so she runs away from him, but she leaves her slipper, and, the Prince Charming's trying to figure out who the girl is by her shoe size, because no one else has a size 6, Jeremy, of course not. But anyways, right, eventually, the stepsisters, the evil ones who are apparently very ugly, unlucky, they try and shove their foot in there, and they, mutilate it to get in there. It's disgusting. Fairy tales are disgusting. But anyways, eventually Cinderella's foot gets in there. So that is the play, that's the synopsis, and the really big role is Cinderella and also Prince Charming. There's a ton of roles, right? There's 30, 35, 40 kids in the 5th grade, so they have to have a lot of roles. Not everyone can be pulling the curtain. It can't be 6 people on stage and 15 people pulling one curtain, 13 pulling the other, 15 handing out the pamphlets. There were some kids who didn't really want to be on stage, but the majority, they were given roles if they wanted to. But the really big role that people were auditioning for was both Cinderella and Prince Charming. And Max was a bit of a theater kid himself. It was kind of his forte, and not a lot of the other guys were really gunning for Prince Charming, so Max more or less got that role in the bag. However, the role of Cinderella was much more contested amongst the girls, because they were thinking oh my god, Cinderella, that's me, right? So there were plenty of them, and one of them, we're just gonna call her Ava. And this girl, Ava, was actually quite talented, was a pretty good actor, at least for being a 5th grader, she's a pretty good actor. And there was another girl named Audrey who also really wanted the role, and she just wasn't as good. I mean, look, dude, they're in 5th grade, life can change, but at this moment, it was pretty clear that the role was, set for Ava. So Max and Ava were actually kind of friends, and they were talking at lunch a few days before the audition. And, Max and Ava were sitting there, and Ava's like, hey, congrats on basically having the role of Prince Charming. Max responds, hey, congrats on almost having the role of Cinderella. And Ava's like, well, it's less sure. Look, your spot isn't that contested. There isn't really even a boy in our grade who wants that role besides you, so that's basically set. While I think that I'm pretty good for the role of Cinderella, Audrey really wants it as well. And Max is like, Ava, you're a better actor, you're a better fit, and the person running the play, he knows this. I'm being an idiot. What's that called? I guess play director. Yeah, the play director obviously knows you're better. But Ava's like, I don't know. Audrey really wants it. And you know how Audrey's mom gets when she doesn't get something that she wants. So yes, officially Karen reveal time. So Audrey had a mom who was notoriously a Karen. She was notoriously a Karen because in 2nd grade, when Audrey didn't get a check plus on her project that her and her mom worked on, the Karen, Audrey's mom, aka the Karen, I'm just going to call her the Karen from here on out, the Karen stormed into class and demanded that Audrey get a check plus, and that's when the teacher had to reveal to the Karen that there was no check plus plus. It was literally check minus, check, and check plus. And Audrey's Karen mom had to like awkwardly walk out of there. And ever since, Audrey's mom has just garnered this reputation of being a massive Karen, which she is, and which you shall see is she does something crazy, so you don't want to miss it. But anyways, so Audrey and Ava, are they're not really friends. They're not really not friends. They're okay, but they immediately stop talking to each other, right? And Max observes this. And, he goes up to Ava. He's like, oh, you and Audrey are kind of cold to each other. Because while they weren't friends before, they were extra cold to each other. They wouldn't even look in each other's eyes. And Ava's like, dude, it's not really me. I swear it's like her. Like, she's like, I try and make eye contact. I try and wave. But she's just like staring right past me. It's weird. And, Max is like, all right, well, I mean, it's probably just nerves because she knows that you're her biggest competition. Let's fast forward to the day of the audition. So basically, right, one afternoon is set aside time for the audition for the play. It's a really low stakes, dude. It's 5th grade. Who even cares? But anyways, right? Dude, 5th grade play is important. Fine, I'm sorry. My fault. But anyways, they all get there, right? And they get there kind of like 5 or so minutes early, or at least the ones that are really trying to gun for certain roles. A lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to show up 5 minutes early to try and be bush number 7. Like, that's fine. I can just, if I have to be tree number 6, whatever. But anyways, right? So Max is there, Ava's there, and that's when Max and Ava are talking. Max is like, are you feeling nervous? And Ava's like, yeah, I actually am. Max is like, dude, you totally got this. And that's when they see Audrey coming. But this is when they're like, oh my God, because it's not just Audrey showing up, dude. It's Audrey and the Karen, aka her mom. So Audrey and the Karen appear. And Max is like, dude, what? Why's her mom here? And Ava's like, I don't know, but why is her mom here? So anyways, right, because this was ridiculous. I mean, this isn't like a thing that no one goes and sees the audition for the 5th grade play. You either see the 5th grade play, and maybe if you're a super mega fan who was sitting around like waiting for tickets for 10 days, like you're waiting for like the Star Wars movie to come out or something like that, maybe you see the dress rehearsal. You don't come for the auditions, bro. No one does that. But anyways, right, they get in there. All the kids are in there. The play director is waiting, and, Audrey's mom, aka the Karen, finds a folding chair and sits it down. And the play director kind of looks at her and like, hello, ma'am. Didn't really expect any guests, but you're fine watching. And the Karen mom literally just folds her arm in response. Like, she folds her arms and goes, Like, that's literally it. She just doesn't say anything. And play director's like, okay, it's a little weird. But anyways, guys, welcome to the play for Rapunzel. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. But welcome to the play for Cinderella. My fault, boys. But anyways, and like today we'll be doing auditions. Like, if you don't get the part you want, like, don't feel too bad about it. I will make sure that you will have a part that you will have a lot of fun with. I guarantee that. Does anyone want to like go for audition for backstage or more of a managerial role than actually, participating in the play? Bunch of people raise their hands. He's like, all right, you guys wait outside for about like 10 minutes or so. You can go to recess or whatever. The rest of you guys, I'm assuming you are here to try out for one of the main roles in the play. So sure enough, Max goes up there for one. It's called like the attractive man or whatever in Cinderella. Dude, I don't watch these things. I don't know the name. And he gets it, or Prince Charming, I think was his name, or something stupid like that. Max immediately gets it. No one else even shows up, but play director's like, hey, can you just run some lines? Max does a great job. And then it's like, all right, so now we're doing one more for Cinderella. Anyone for Cinderella? So Audrey, Ava, and some other girls show up. The other girls actually, some of them drop out immediately. They're like, I don't really care that much. I'll be one of the evil stepsisters. I'll be someone in the background. I don't really care. That's when Ava goes up there. Ava's Max's friend, just to remind you. And Ava does a really good, a really good job. She obviously is one of the best ones for it. And Max is watching the Karen, who is sitting in the audience and has her arms folded and is just like, has these glasses on. But like, Max could tell that she was like glaring at Ava because that was her daughter's competition. And she knew that, dude. And that's when Audrey went up there. And even before Audrey did anything, the Karen started going like, yes, Audrey, let's go. So good. And Audrey's like, Mom, please. And then the play director's like, all right, silence from the audience. Audrey, hear the lines, say them, like audition, whatever, right? And Audrey says them. She does a good job, but in Max's opinion, it's almost very clear that Ava's got the part, right? And afterwards, you know, the playwriter or the play director is like, all right, guys, thank you so much. I have a lot to think about. So the parts will be posted on the bulletin board tomorrow. Remember, if you don't get exactly what you want, these are pretty much my final decisions. I can't really move them around. Unless you want to drop out of a part, then just please let me know about that. Otherwise, like, you're free to go. And so Max and Ava are walking out, and that's when Max turns around and sees the Karen go up to the play director and is like talking to him, and the play director is like talking back, and they're kind of like, the Karen has her arms folded and is probably saying, "My child deserves to get the part of Cinderella. You were so clear. Why do you even have to think about it? It was so obvious." Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment Karen down below. I'm going to try and heart as many comments as possible that say that. I just like seeing the names and faces of people who support the channel by watching at least this far into the video, and I just want to say I do appreciate you. And if you want to support the channel more, which I've been seeing you guys been doing, and thank you so much for it, binge watch these videos, aka that means sitting down or doing something and watching like 5, 6, 7, 10 plus videos in a single sitting, which is insane. It boosts the channel even more than you can ever imagine. And if you do so, please let me know what you're doing while you're doing it, or which binge video number you are on, and I'll even shout some people out like I'm doing right now in the comment section to tell me. Anyways, let's get back to the story. Craziest Karen story I think I've ever received. So the next day comes around, and Max, Ava, and everyone are just feverishly waiting for the auditions, but basically the who got what part in the play to be posted on the bulletin board. So they're all kind of just waiting around, and when they're in class, immediately as class ends, they rush over to the bulletin board, and nothing is there, and you know, class ends, and then they rush over again, and nothing is there, and then they're at lunch, but they keep checking again and again until immediately, like when they're sitting down to lunch, they hear some kid run in and said, "It's been posted! It's been posted!" And then Max, Ava, Audrey, and everyone else gets out of their seats and immediately runs over, gets to the bulletin board, and Max starts scanning, right? Max sees, okay, Max is like, all right, I got the part, awesome, and he looks to see who got Cinderella, and he sees it, and it was Ava. Ava got the part. And he looks down, and Audrey was one of the bridesmaids or whatever, the evil sisters or something like that. And Max looks over, and Audrey just is like, runs away from the bulletin board into the bathroom. You know, drama happens, man. It's 5th grade, and it's stuff like this happens. And Ava's like, oh, I feel bad. And Max is like, no, I mean, you got the part. You both competed, and one of you won fair and square. Like, that's totally fine. And some people might be thinking that this is the end of the saga. Ho, you are so wrong. Because the Karen is very upset that her little baby Audrey did not get the part that she wanted. So you know what will happen? The Karen is about to strike back. The Karen is about to inflict maximum damage. But that's coming up. Stick around. So anyways, right, they're preparing for the next couple weeks, or actually about a month. They're preparing to show the play, so they're practicing their lines. They're doing like getting their people that, you know, assigned to make the sets or whatever, that like more the artistically inclined people that weren't a big fan of acting were totally on top of that stuff. They were able to tweak the scripts that they wanted to. They were given a very basic, you know, Cinderella script, but they wanted to add a little bit or change some lines. The play director was pretty cool and gave them, you know, kind of artistic freedom or creative freedom in that sense. And yeah, so the next couple weeks go by, and it's the dress rehearsal. It seems like Audrey is pretty happy with her role. She's really kind of embraced being the evil stepsister, and she's having a lot of fun with it. And while Audrey was pretty upset at first that she didn't get the role that she wanted, her and Ava became pretty good friends. And kind of throughout, and you know, or at least maybe not pretty good friends, but they were cool. They would talk during breaks or whatever. They would have good interactions between each other. They had great chemistry, you know, on stage. But you know who was not cool with all of this? You know who was very, 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 very upset? The Karen. Audrey's mom, the Karen, was not having a second of this. She was not having any of this at all. So sure enough, right, the day of the dress rehearsal comes. And it goes super smoothly. It is, you know, everything's totally fine. Some parents, parents are allowed to come and see it if they really want to. However, they're encouraged to see the main premiere instead, but they can do whatever they want. So some parents come because like maybe they can't make it tomorrow and they feel bad, so they want to at least see the dress rehearsal. Some parents are just so excited to see their kids perform that they come today and tomorrow. And Max was almost certain that the Karen was going to appear, was going to come, right? That she was going to show up because she showed up to the auditions. Why wouldn't she show up to the dress rehearsal too? But the Karen was nowhere to be seen. Max either assumed that, the Karen was like, well, I'm going to see the thing tomorrow. It doesn't really matter. Maybe the Karen had something to do, but he just felt weird about it. There was just something strange and something off. And also Audrey was just seeming a little weird, and everyone just chalked it up to, stage fright or whatever, or butterflies about the real performance tomorrow. But Ava comes up to Max, and Ava's like, hey, so I was just talking with Audrey, and she's being very weird. And Max is like, what do you mean Audrey's being very weird? And Ava's like, she was saying something about, how her mom was getting really upset or something, and how she's afraid her mom's going to say something at tomorrow's performance, how she really wanted her to be, Cinderella. And Ava went on to say, Audrey didn't even really care. She didn't even really care about being Cinderella, but apparently her mom was Cinderella in her play, so the Karen wanted her daughter to also be Cinderella, and it was like, that's why Audrey wanted it so bad. She didn't actually want the role. She didn't care. She could be behind the scenes or tree number 7 if she wanted. And that's probably why she took it so well when she didn't get it. Immediately after, she was upset because she was like, oh my God, what's my mom going to think about this? And, Ava's like, I think Audrey's just over-exaggerating, but I guess we'll see tomorrow. And yes, they did see tomorrow because it gets a little wild. Stick around. Anyways, it's tomorrow. It's the big day. It's the day of the big show. And sure enough, right, everyone is there. The first grade, the second grade, the third grade, the fourth grade, it is the big moment. All the parents are there. Even some of the older kids are kind of lurking in the back, being like, I remember when I did this. Look at them, so young. I mean, what are they, 12? I mean, I'm a whole 13 right now. Whatever, right? I don't know how old you are in 5th grade. But sure enough, they're all behind stage. And, Max, Ava, Audrey are standing there. They've kind of like created a little bit of a group because they're friends now. And Max is like, all right, it's the big deal. It's time. This is it, baby. Let's go. And they're all kind of getting hyped. They're all getting excited. And, they're all behind stage. And the play director goes out there and is like, hey, everyone, I'd like you to welcome to the 10th, annual 5th grade play. And everyone's like, oh, whatever, clapping and sure ensues or whatever. And so sure enough, right, the play director's like, all right, I'm going to ask that all cell phones be set to silent. If you're going to record, make sure the flash isn't on, and let's begin. And sure enough, the curtain draws, and it's the opening scene or whatever. It's like the 3 evil stepsisters or something. And that's when Ava and Max are behind the scenes. Max doesn't come out for a second, but Ava is about to come out to wash the dishes or something, whatever Cinderella does in the movie. And this is where things get really, really bad. And you're not even going to believe what's about to happen. So Ava walks out there, and before she can say a single line, you hear a yell from the crowd, "Stop the production! Stop the production!" And you see someone standing up, waving both of their hands. So everyone obviously stops. Even the piano guy doing the music in the background is like, what? And that's when Max peeks his head out from behind the curtain. You know who he sees standing up, waving her hands? Yes, it is the Karen. She striked back. And anyways, the Karen waddles up to the front, moves past people, walks down the center aisle, and is like, this is outrageous. This is outrageous. And starts stomping around. Bump, 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 bump. She's like, stop the production. This is a fraudulent production. This is bad. No, stop. And she literally walks up on stage and in front of everyone. And at this point, right, Max is just watching the whole thing with his jaw absolutely slacked. His jaw is dropped. He's like, what on earth is going on? And the Karen is on stage, points at Ava, right, and says, she stole the part of Cinderella from my daughter. I was Cinderella when I was in 5th grade, and she needs to be Cinderella too. And she said, I was there at the audition, Audrey, my daughter. And Audrey's just like has her hands in her, like her face in her hands, like, oh my God, Mom, this is literally the worst thing ever. And she's like, I was there at the audition, and my daughter Audrey was 100 times better than this fraud. And points at Ava, right? And Ava starts to tear up because you got this like big old woman on stage yelling at you, calling you a fraud, right? Basically saying that you stole the audition from her daughter. And the Karen goes on to say, I don't know what, this daughter bribed you with, and pointed at the stage conductor. I don't know if her mother paid you off or something, but it was ridiculous. It was an outrage, and I can't let this stand. I can't let this stand anymore. I've been sitting on the sidelines for too long, and now I will make my stance. I will not let a fraudulent play go on any longer. And Max in his head's like, bro, this is a 5th grade play. This is not Broadway. Sit down. Like, this is crazy. And at this point, right, the stage director is, or not the stage director, but like the play director, who is in complete shock, kind of like gets back into it. He kind of shakes himself out of it and stands on stage and is like, ma'am, you are ruining a special night for all the kids out there and all the kids on stage and all the parents out there. This isn't about who is what or who does what. It's about, the play. It's about having fun. It was about the journey that we all took to get to this moment. Your daughter loves the role that she has. She was incredible in sculpting the role into what it is. It is more than what it was when I first started. It doesn't matter who your daughter is. It doesn't matter who you were before. He goes on. It's like he had this planned, bro. He has like a perfect monologue. I guess he had a crazy Karen monologue up his sleeve or something. And he's like, right now, right, the play has just started. At least let it go. At least let the play continue and allow everyone else to have fun. And allow your daughter to enjoy herself in the role. And the Karen stops for a second. And everyone, including Max, is like, oh my God, the play director got to the Karen, right? We're going to be able to go on with the play. Like, yes, they'll have to probably restart it. It's going to have an awkward pause, but we're going to be allowed to go on with the play. He finally got to her. He got through her thick skull, but you know what I mean. But the Karen, you could just see that there was a change in her eyes. And she's like, no, I will not let this happen. This is outrageous. And that's when the Karen is like, if you're going to boot me off, I'm not going to let this play happen today or tomorrow or ever. And that's when the Karen goes on a true rampage. So there was a bunch of like scenery and sets and stuff. And the Karen runs back there and starts punching and smashing and breaking over her knees and is like screaming the whole time. She's like, it's her. It starts breaking everything in sight. Like, breaks everything possible, right? And there's like, everyone in the audience is talking. She's like going insane. And Audrey's like, Mom, stop. What's going on? And the Karen's like, I'm doing this for you. You should have been Cinderella. And Audrey's like, Mom, I don't care about being Cinderella. And the Karen's like, well, I do. And it goes, boom, 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 smash, boom, just breaks everything on set. And the Karen's like, try and have a play now. And the Karen starts to walk off stage. Everyone is like, boo. Everyone completely boos her. And she like walks back, throws 2 middle fingers up, is like, woo, woo, woo. Literally the worst person on planet Earth, right? So the curtains close, the play director goes and gathers everyone around. Audrey is like in complete tears, right? And the play director's like, Audrey, I'm so sorry. He said, you know what? The audience is here. We know our lines. Yes, we don't have like a third of the props we need, but we don't need them, right? We don't need the props. The play isn't over, guys. The play isn't over. And, sure enough, he was able to rally them together. And so at this point, right, the Karen's being escorted out by security. And as the Karen's being walked out, right, the play director comes out and says, in 1 minute, the play will commence. And everyone's like, yeah! Like, everyone starts exploding. It's almost like, in the last minute of some, like, football game or basketball game where the last point is scored, everyone freaks, like completely flips out. Same reaction times two for the freaking 5th grade play. And the Karen starts screaming as she's being pulled out or whatever. And sure enough, they go ahead with the play, and it's a fantastic performance. And afterwards, like, Audrey starts going up to people, like, and it's like, I'm so sorry. And Max and Ava are like, you can't control your mom. It's not your fault. And it ended up being a fantastic performance. And Audrey and Ava and Max continued on being parts of the play for the next 4 or so whatever years, like 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, I guess 3 years or whatever. And yeah, all ends well, minus the
Click on the
Karen.
video
She
on
still
screen
sucks.
right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.